Is Superliminal worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome, everyone, to episode 184 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, how liminal is super?
I think it's like superimposed, not like superpowers.
Oh, all right. Good to know. We're going to be talking about Superliminal, developed by Pillow Castle. And I play this on the PC. 10.66 gigabytes on the PC, Tom. What about you?
It is beefier on the Series consoles. 14.42 gigabytes on the Series S.
Ooh, okay.
40% larger. Why?
40%. No one knows. But what is interesting is the release schedule of this game. This game first came out on PC and Mac, November of 2019, then Switch, PS4, Xbox One, July of 2020, and then Linux, November 2020. They were making sure this game got everywhere. And then finally, PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles in November of 2022.
2 years later.
2 years later.
There's quite a gap there.
Yeah.
Very busy activity in the 2019-2020 time. And then...
Well, yeah, I mean, 4 gigs more on the Series console, so there you go. That's what it is.
Figure something out.
Yeah, added more content. Speaking of content, what is this game? What kind of game is it?
I put first-person puzzle.
Yep, that's exactly what I wrote too. I just added the game at the end of it. First-person puzzle game. But yes, it's being kind of redundant when you ask that question. Yeah. But, sometimes I say redundant things. But now let's talk about that game loop, which is kind of a redundant thing that you do in a game, right? And what'd you write down?
There is redundancy in a loop. It's kind of necessary to being a loop. So for my game loop, I have perform mental gymnastics to solve puzzles of perspective and access new areas.
Ooh,
that was hit with some alliteration, some assonance.
Yeah.
Just go crazy in there.
Well done. I just wrote down complete puzzles to get to the next puzzle.
I mean, yes, it is a puzzle game. You will be solving puzzles.
Yes, and continuing to do so as
until the credits roll.
Until the credits roll. And now, prior to those credits rolling, there's a game in between that we need to talk about what we liked. So let's get into that.
Okay. So I thought it was pretty cool as I was going through the little tutorial that it has. Not that it's not a very robust tutorial, but there is a tutorial and it does teach you some of the buttons. And one of the things that it did is it had a caution sign in the world, like slippery when wet sign. And that slippery when wet sign said press A to jump on it. Oh. And I liked that because it was like the instructions were in the world.
Yeah.
But not in a little pop-up or something.
Right. Yeah. I think the very first thing that happens, because I initially I played this game with mouse and keyboard. And that wall that you look at initially, there's a drawn WASD icon with to tell you how to move and stuff like that. And I didn't realize that was I thought that this was the menu. And then I moved my character and it was just drawn on the wall. So I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool that they just kind of did this stuff. And I guess it kind of primes your mind too, because a lot of the game is that you realizing that there is things you have to mess with the environment in, because you do that a lot. And I guess to kind of explain the mechanics, so to speak, you can take the very first thing that you do is you see this chess piece on a table, and on that table pick this up, and then I was like, it's just a regular sized chess piece, and then when you if you look at it a certain way, it gets either smaller or bigger, and that's basically the premise of how you solve puzzles in this game. Is you take objects, make them big, make them small, to try and fit them into whatever you have to do to get to your next objective. But it was pretty odd when it first happened to me. I was like, whoa, what just happened? This is the game, because I had no idea going into it. And I'm sure you had no idea.
No.
Never heard about this game at all. So it was, I honestly, I thought it was going to be some sort of like creepypasta thing where you're being chased by someone. Because this game has kind of some creepy ass vibes, though.
Yeah, it does have that. I could see why you would think that someone's going to be hunting you down.
Yeah. So I was constantly like checking corners and stuff like that during my playthrough. But on top of that, this game had that almost like a Portal vibe, right? Portal,
very much so.
Yeah.
I put in my likes that the AI voice reminds me of GLaDOS.
Right. Very much that. And then game that we talked about and played was Prey, which kind of had the same premise too, like at least that intro tutorial where you realize you're a subject in this kind of in this experiment, and you are here too. And there's something about going on about dreams, like you're in your own dream or something like that, and you're manipulating it in some way. So it's like, what is going on? Yeah, very weird premise. So yeah, I don't know what else you got here, Tom, in terms of.
I enjoyed solving the puzzles, manipulating perspective to do it. Mm-hmm. I got satisfaction when I solved a puzzle or figured something out, which I think, if you do a puzzle game right, you will feel that sense of, aha, I did it.
Definitely.
On top of that, I think it was pretty clever with the humor and little like plays on words that they did. Mm-hmm. I love signs. I love silly signs. And there was a sign that said, no objects beyond this point.
Yeah.
And then next to it, it said, thanks for not objecting. Right?
Yeah.
There's a double play there, right? Don't use objects. No objecting, but also, don't argue with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just this cheesy kind of British style humor to it.
There's definitely some dry wit sprinkled throughout this game and its humor for sure. I can see that. And every voice that we hear, I don't know, actually the AI voice was not British, was it? It was not.
Like I said, it just made me think of GLaDOS.
Yeah.
Very
so
much.
but then you hear like audio recordings of this other doctor. That person's definitely British. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought it was pretty well done in terms of that. I don't know. I don't have anything else to talk about because the game is pretty much that you're manipulating objects.
Yeah, you pick things up and put them down.
You pick things up, you put them down. I mean, I like the fact that there was in terms of audio, as things get bigger, their sound.
Yeah,
when they fall is
significant.
The big clunk, or like when you make it really tiny, it's like a little tap on the floor and stuff like that. That was satisfying. I appreciated that they took that into consideration for sure. So, and clearly there's something ominous going on because you start to peel the layers out of this, this experiment as you try to solve these puzzles and stuff like that. So that's good. Good stuff. But what else? Anything else here? Or shall we go to our?
No, just more. All of my likes basically revolve around enjoying the puzzles and enjoying the humor. So
I will say, and this can kind of lead into your dislike, but I liked the music. I thought the music felt I like it. It got me into a particular mood to just do some like fun little puzzles. But clearly you didn't. So let's talk about that.
No, it's like this hotel smooth jazz thing going on, and I'd rather it just be quiet. I don't want to listen to it.
All right, that's fair.
I wish I could have turned it off.
Probably could have.
Yeah, I guess I could have turned the music volume down in the mix.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it.
It's fine, but I was thinking about something. This is a first-person game, Tom, and you can't see your feet. What's going on? Superliminal. Wait, maybe. Okay, you know what? I can give this a pass
because you're maybe dreaming.
Because you're dreaming. Like you might be some sort of floating object or thing. So, okay, I'll give it a pass. Though. I do appreciate though that there was no fall damage, like things dropping on you didn't kill you, that you jumping from high places doesn't kill you. Again, you're in a dream state of some sort. Inception, if you will. But I appreciated that. But
if you die in the dream, do you die in real life?
I don't think they ever mentioned that. There's a lot of like whiteboards with like theories and stuff like that going. I don't think they ever said that. So, and you don't die, so clearly no.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet anyway. What else did you not like about this game?
So, I there are parts about the tutorial that I liked, but at the same time, it is very, very simple. And it really, the game just kind of almost tosses you to the wolves and kind of expects you to figure it out.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening sometimes in a game where that's the case is that you end up just fumbling around trying to figure out what to do. And that's not fun. I don't have fun just going around in circles trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. Especially since I guess I'm not sure how to feel about this, but like there are a lot of objects in the world, but very few of them are you able to interact with. So there's a lot of stuff all around you.
True.
But there are tons of doors and you can't open any of them. There's tons of like potted plants and things that you'd like, oh, I could use this. Nope, you can't. You can only use the very specific things that they expect you to use, which makes sense from a technical, like, I'm sure it was tricky to program, so I understand why the object needs to be the object that they intended for you to use.
Right.
But it just feels weird to...
Like, in a way, it because we played open roads, I kind of appreciate that they focused it on the objects that you only need to work with, because then, especially for a puzzle game like this, it would throw me up the wall. It would drive me crazy. Like just doing that. So I get what you're saying though. But like, I think they did, like you said, from a technical perspective, game design perspective, they probably just were like, let's not make it too complicated for our users. But to your point though, I felt that while there definitely were moments where I had that aha, there was a lot of times where I was just like, oh, really? Like that's the solution kind of thing. Because just some of them just felt so ridiculous, especially later on in my hour. Like a lot of times I was like, how do I do this? And then it was just something so like,
like peel down an exit sign and move it stuff.
Right. Or
how was I supposed to know that the exit sign was the interactable object?
Yeah. And then, but like, even with that, like, I thought the getting the right perspective, I didn't know how to do it properly. So it was like a lot of just, I know you were talking about like guesswork, but like it was that too, where I was like, okay, if I put it far away, it gets bigger for me because it's further in my perspective. But then when I get close, I can make it bigger in that way too. I don't know. It was a little confusing in how I got my like particular sizes for my objects. I don't know if you had any difficulties with that, but I definitely did. I was
it's definitely a lot of like moving back in and out, back and forth, trying to get it. And it's like, oh, okay, now it looks like it's the right size to hit. Maybe you need to hit two buttons with one object. And it's like, okay, so I need the screen to make it look like the object could hit both buttons.
Right.
And then you kind of manipulate your perspective so that that's the case. Mm-hmm. And then you let go of the item and now it does hit both objects. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But it is a little fumbly-wumbly until you start to really get comfortable with it, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Other thing, like, you can jump in this game, but for some reason you can't crouch. Not to say you necessarily need it, but I feel like at this point.
It's probably, again, a technical constraint trying to manipulate perspective, because the forced perspective is so important here.
Yeah.
That they need to know that your eye line is always on a certain level.
I guess you're right. Something. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that way. Cool. Anything else here, Tom, about your dislikes?
Early on, when they're hitting you with a lot of text, the text was disappearing before I could read it all. Which is unusual. Usually, you have a button to press or something like that to move the text along, or if the text is, dialogue, usually, it stays on the screen while the person is talking and completes the dialogue. But for whatever reason, that wasn't the case.
What a shame.
Yeah, it was weird. And I want to point out that I think the whole experience is very kind of trippy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that really kind of racks your brain.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a mystery going on, but there's also like, you know, having to
Puzzles.
use all these, you know, use parts of your brain that you probably don't really use very often.
No.
It's like perpetually doing the Peter Jackson camera trick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, 100%. Oh yeah. Especially like when you see an object and you go to grab it, or you see, and then like you notice it's actually not an object. It's like painted onto the wall or something like that. Or like the rooms get smaller. It was just like, what is going on? Very, very odd, but kind of fun at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah. I want, you know, buyers to beware. I want our listeners to know what they're getting into.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I guess we'll get to our other thoughts here.
Yeah.
Apparently, How Long to Beat says this game takes about 2 hours to complete. 2 hours. Although, to be fair, I kind of went through the settings and I saw that there was a whole speedrunning thing to this game. So maybe that's why it could be a little skewed. I would say it's probably closer to 3 hours, but that's also because I don't have a very smart brain. So maybe it takes me a bit longer.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was halfway through at the end of the hour, but, you know, maybe I was. I don't know.
Yeah. This game is xCloud enabled, and it does have Xbox Cloud saves as well. So there's all that. So if you wanted to play this on the go, it's there for you.
If you want to put it down and pick it up on a different device.
Yeah. On different perspectives, maybe. I don't know. In that way. But Tom, what do you got here on your other thoughts?
Okay. So apparently this game was originally called Museum of Simulation Technology. Kind of a clunky name. I think Superliminal is probably a good change.
Yeah.
The game, interestingly enough, has its roots in a programming assignment that the lead developer was working on during his studies at Carnegie Mellon. So it's pretty cool, especially Chris and I, who took some design classes back in college.
Yeah.
So imagine if it had become a real game, something we were working on. That's pretty cool. Also of note, this was inspired by games like Risk of Rain, Antechamber, and of course Portal.
Nice.
And I noted that, you know, after you finish the game, you can go back and play with a developer commentary.
Nice.
And there also are challenge modes, but I like the idea of a developer commentary. Like,
yeah,
we've like finishing a movie and then going back and listening to talk about how they did it. Like,
yeah,
this seems like a game where that would be very appropriate.
Absolutely. Like, I would love. Like, I feel like, especially puzzle games like this, it'd be really cool to have that commentary while you're playing through it, just to understand how they how they went through the design of that particular puzzle and stuff like that. That'd be cool. That's interesting. It's really interesting. I'm curious to check that out. Cool. Then Tom, I guess we got to get to our final decision here and figure out, are we keeping Superliminal on our respective hard drives, or are we making it really tiny and smashing it under our feet?
Maybe losing it.
Or losing it.
Getting it down to the size of a paper clip and then losing it in the carpet.
That too.
Okay, well, I've got to say, I got stuck at the end of my hour.
Oh.
And that's not good, right?
No.
Like, if you're stuck on a puzzle and you can't figure it out, and then the buzzer goes off and it's like, well, time's up. I wasn't having good momentum. So I don't know. It's a short game. I was enjoying the puzzles kind of up until that point, until I got stuck.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go back, maybe I won't. But knowing that I have to go back to be frustrated, I have to be in the right mood probably to return. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. For myself, it's it's short. It's got British humor. It's like, for me, a video game Ricky Gervais. So why not? I think I might keep it and play through it. I'll keep it.
If I could get unstuck, maybe I'll cheat and look up how to solve this puzzle that I'm stuck on. But I don't like to do that. I feel like it's
I know, but some of them are like, and that's to be honest, I did do that for one of the puzzles. I looked it up. I was like, oh, and that's where I was like, really? That's the solution, and that was just really annoying. So
yeah. I mean, we do live in the internet age. This isn't 30 years ago where we would have been really frustrated for a very long time. So
call a 1-900 number.
Yes.
Get charged like $1.75.
Get it on the cheat line and ask for some assistance.
Well, Those are the days. But those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter or Threads at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below. Maybe tell us what your favorite puzzle was in this game. I don't know.
How about what your favorite puzzle game is?
Oh, that's a good idea too. Well, yeah, do all that stuff. That'd be great. And 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like any great gaming content, check it all out at quitthebuild.com/network. Now, Tom.
Yes, Chris. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Well, the surprise button is going to help us find out. Here we go. Oh, okay. Keplerth.
Like the scientist?
Almost, but not quite.
I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode, and we will catch you in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.